Smackdown tonight? Man, this show fucking sucks. This show fucking sucks. But I will say that there were some good parts on the show. There were some, but not all. We got the Street Profits continuing their feud with Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn. We got Mysterio and Dominik continuing their feud with Otis and Chad Gable, known as the Academy, the Alpha Academy. Reginald gets fired by Carmella. Daniel Bryan versus Reigns is 100% confirmed for Fastlane. Murphy returns. Seth Rollins and Cesaro continuing their feud. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go over it all right here on my IWN, the Wrestling News and Gaming YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Brennan here, live with your March the 5th, 2021 SmackDown review. Now, some of you might have enjoyed that. I enjoyed that very well. That's that music you just heard. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started the SmackDown review, be sure you go on ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on that bell for all notifications so you won't never miss my Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and NXT reviews that go live each and every week. So you also won't miss my NXT UK reviews that go live each and every week as well. So you also won't miss my brand new Ingram Wrestling News videos that I'll be dropping this year. And so you won't miss my newest content that'll be coming to the channel this year. And I got a live stream. I got a brand new special live stream coming this year too. It's going to involve me discussing my plans going forward with my channel. And much, much more. So that's why I say it's very important to have on those notifications at all times. Also, if you're looking for more, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, please do so. Follow me on Twitter at Ingram Wrestling for the latest WWE and AEW news. Also follow me on Twitter for my reviews, because that's where I tweet out my reviews and stuff, and my Ingram Wrestling News videos, letting you know that my Ingram Wrestling News is going to drop in a few minutes, such and such and such, that. So, also follow me on Twitter at Ingram Wrestling News. I would love some more Twitch followers, so please follow me on there. Help me get up to 1,000 followers on there and on Twitter as well. The numbers, man, oh man. I appreciate everybody that's been supporting me over on Twitter, and I really appreciate everybody that's been supporting me on Twitter, man. Keep up with the good work, man. Keep on supporting me and my channel, and I will keep on doing more, and I will keep on giving everybody, each and every single one of you, what you want to hear and what you want to see. Because that's what I'm all about on my channel. I'm not about competition. I'm not like some of these geeks, these YouTuber geeks out here. I'm not like these people. I'm a type of guy that gives everybody what they want to hear, what they want to see. Everything. So, we're going to go ahead and get started with the review. I can't help to say that there were some good parts on the show. The first good part of the show, was Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso, which we've already seen 2-3 times, but still a good match. Better than the second Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan match, right? Can't deny that. Well, alright. This time, now we're going to go ahead and get started with the review for real this time, guys. Because I'm ready to get started here. I'm ready to get this over with. So I can string some Call of Duty. For Roman Reigns versus Edge at WrestleMania. Michael Cole is in the ring inside the Thunderdome. He says, as we know, the main event of WrestleMania may be Roman Reigns versus Edge for the Universal Championship. Or maybe not. Not all of his guests tonight. Sorry about that music. That came from out of nowhere. That scared the crap out of me. Not if his guest tonight has anything to say about it, then Cole introduces former WWE champion Daniel Bryan. Cole reminds Bryan that he was originally scheduled to team up with Edge to face Roman Reigns and Jey Uso at Fastlane. Then asks why he opted to change those plans. Bryan says Cole is making a lot of assumptions. He was never asked if he wanted to team with Edge to face Roman and Jey at Fastlane. He says everyone knows he'll do whatever is asked of him, and he rolls with the punches, so they didn't bother to ask. Bryan says Roman doesn't mind because he'd rather not defend his title. Edge was fine with it because he's already got his WrestleMania match. He's already got his WrestleMania main event match for the Universal Championship. Well, it's time he changes and does whatever he wants. Bryan says that everyone wants to see Roman versus Edge, Thunderdome versus Attitude Era, but he doesn't care about that. So, he wants the Universal Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. Bryan then points to the screen, and we see a video package of him winning the Elimination Chamber match 2 weeks ago, only to lose to Roman Reigns in the Universal Championship match right afterwards. Then Edge come out and speared Reigns and made it clear that he wanted Roman at WrestleMania. So Bryan says he's lost a lot in his career. Been beaten up a lot in his career. He says you'd think after winning the Elimination Chamber for a third time, then fighting violently against Roman Reigns, and that he'd be okay with losing to Roman. But as Edge rolled into the ring and hit Roman with the spear, it pointed to the WrestleMania sign. He never felt more like a failure. Bryan says he's never had much ambition testing, but this time it's different. Bryan says for the past year he has put over talent ahead of himself, put himself on the back burner. Yet when Edge was pointing at the sign, he felt like a failure and realized that he had a lot more ambition. He was jealous, and he wants it far more than they do. He's wrestled more in the last 3 weeks than Edge and Roman have combined in the past year. He knows when he puts his mind to it. Now, he is the absolute best. He said tonight he'd step into the steel cage with Jey Uso, and if he wins, he goes on to face Roman Reigns at Fastlane. And that could well be his last chance at main eventing WrestleMania. Now, Bryan makes the speech some more, but Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Paul Heyman interrupt and make their way to the ring. We got a commercial break. So back live, Roman Reigns, Heyman, and Jey stand opposite Bryan in the ring. Reigns says he's looking at the same guy, but Bryan doesn't sound like the same guy. He laughs at the idea that Bryan is ambitious or driven and says he isn't. He's an underdog, a lotto winner. Sometimes he gets lucky and it works out. He's definitely not ambitious because men like him and they are rare and are ambitious. He takes what he wants. Roman says Bryan doesn't love wrestling either. He needs it because he has nothing else. Roman loves it though. He does it because people need and want him, not because he has to. Reigns says once Jey beats Bryan tonight, he will know that he needs him, and then he can acknowledge him. Jey takes Bryan's microphone and tells him not to worry about the Universal Championship. Says this as close as he'll ever get to the Universal title. That his road to WrestleMania ends tonight. Jey tries to sucker punch Bryan but gets judos tossed, then thrown from the ring. Bryan stares at Roman and smiles, but Reigns isn't happy and he leaves with Jey pulling up the rear like a wounded dog. Later tonight, Bianca Belair faces Shayna Baszler after the break. Street Profits would be in action. Now, this was a very, very, very good opening to SmackDown. The segment did not need to continue after the commercial break either, though. Bryan's long promo was the best way to open the show. Now, having Roman Reigns and Uso give a quick response was unnecessary. Now, Bryan has always been great at giving this kind of promo. He has real passion for the business, and it always comes across when he speaks. Reigns' speech was good, but it was exactly the same thing we have heard him say for weeks. A separate response at a different point during the show would have been better. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, we got Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are in the ring, and out comes Sami Zayn. Sami says that last week the Profits pulled off a fluke win over him and Corbin, but tonight they proved that it was a fluke. Corbin comes out and says they're not partners or friends, and he refuses to be Sami's partner. Corbin asks for a singles match, and Ford says Dawkins' schedule is free. Angelo likes it, and they agree to facing both of them in singles match. Sami isn't happy and says he didn't agree to any of this. It must be a conspiracy theory. I like when he says that. Conspiracy theory. Hilarious if you ask me. So we got Montez Ford with Angelo Dawkins versus King Corbin and Sami Zayn. Corbin drills forward with a knee right out the gate and then whips him to the corner. But Montez flips over the King, and this is a drop kick. Ford ducks a clothesline but runs into a big clothesline for a 2 count. Now Corbin backs forward into the corner and peppers him with the right hands, then whips him hard to the opposite corner. Corbin lifts forward and rolls him out like a yo-yo into the mat. Corbin takes a second to talk trash to Dawkins, which allows Ford to jump on his back with a sleeper. Corbin tries to sling Ford off, but he lands on his feet and kicks him into the corner. Ford drops Corbin. He drops Corbin and hits a standing moonsault. Then climbs the ropes, but Zayn and his cameraman distract him. Ford jumps off, but nobody's home. Then Corbin catches Ford with end of days for the pinfall, and that was it. So after the match, Corbin rolls out of the ring, and Sami stops him and asks for his help in his match, for helping him. Corbin agrees, and Zayn gets on the apron, but Dawkins knocks him off, and he hits Corbin. So the King turns and leaves Sami high and dry. So we got Angelo Dawkins versus Sami Zayn. I don't know why. Probably should go ask Bruce and Vince. They're probably not going to tell you anything. Well, we got Angelo Dawkins with Montez Ford at ringside versus Sami Zayn with King Corbin at ringside. Now, let me know in the comments below what y'all thought of this match, because I really want to know y'all's opinion on this match. What did y'all think? How did y'all feel? Did you feel like it should have never happened? Do you feel like WWE should get Sami Zayn and Corbin away from the Street Profits? I mean, let's be honest. King Corbin in the Smackdown Tag Team Division. And we know the Raw and Smackdown Tag Team Divisions are fucking god-awful. We know that. Because there are only 2 teams on the brands. And then we all know the women's division is god-awful, too. And speaking of the women's division, we're going to get to that Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler match here in a bit. So, they go to commercial break. We return to find this match underway. And Dawkins is actually slamming Zayn's face into the turnbuckles. Man, Jesus Christ. Ouch. That looked like that hurt. Zayn turns the tables with a headlock, but gets shot off and dropped with a shoulder. Zayn and Dawkins do the usual duck, leapfrog spot until Dawkins hits a drop kick for a 2 count. Dawkins rolls outside after Sami, but gets slammed into the barricade. Sami Zayn then knocks him into the apron. He knocks him into the apron. So once he knocks him into the apron, before pulling him back in the ring, he hits a forearm to the back of the head for a 2 count. Zayn stomps Dawkins in the head and talks trash. Then uploads right hands. Zayn hangs Dawkins on the middle rope and drives a knee into his back to choke him. So then Zayn, he talks trash. Like, he literally talks non-trash. Like, he talks real trash as a heel. Something heels do all the time in the ring. Zayn talks trash to Montez on the floor, then hits Dawkins with a clothesline for a 2 count, and goes back to the cover a few times. Dawkins starts a comeback with a clothesline and some spinning forearms in the corner and a crossbody. Angelo hits the spinning double arm neck breaker for a near fall. Zayn rolls to the apron and pulls Dawkins' neck down on the rope. He rolls down on the rope. He pulls Dawkins' neck down on the rope. Then Sami counters Dawkins and hits an exploder suplex into the turnbuckles. Zayn wants to hit the Haluna kick, but he sees Montez Ford hammering it up for his cameraman and tells him to stop. Now Dawkins rolls Zayn up for the win. Zayn should have been paying attention to his match instead of paying attention to Montez Ford. But Montez Ford distracted Zayn so much that he had no choice but to see what Montez Ford was trying to do. So, after the match, Zayn freaks out after the match and asks whose fault that was. He shouts at his cameraman and says he doesn't recognize one of them. He didn't hire them. Then he then hits him with a few knees and screams that he wants answers. Zayn holds his head looking confused. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Corbin, I will say this. Corbin and Zayn not getting along was a nice bit of continuity. Just because two guys are heels does not mean they should be friends. Now, I will say it was sorta, tiny bit fun to see Corbin take the high road for once. The King worked clean, but the distraction from Zayn helped him keep up his heel persona. It was perfectly in line with his character to leave Zayn alone after a small misconsumption. Now Dawkins picking up the win after his partner lost, evened the score, but also made this entire sequence of events a wash. Both matches were short, but did have some decent action. It wasn't that decent. It wasn't really that entertaining. It wasn't really that fun to watch, if you ask me. It just wasn't enough to make up for the lack of logic in how everything was booked. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I wanted to say right there. Now, Carmella is backstage and Reginald brings her a bottle of champagne. Carmella says she brought the lowly Sommler to the big leads and he betrayed her in favor of Sasha Banks. He denies it, but she slaps the champagne out of his hands and says he's fired. So we got Dominik Mysterio with his father, Rey Mysterio, at ringside versus the leader of the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, with Otis at ringside. Also, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this match. I thought, in my opinion, it was completely boring. Because, let's be honest, we've already saw this match last Friday. Why would we need to see it again? I don't understand. Oh, because it's a feud, right? And it makes sense, right? Okay, I get it. But seeing the match twice? Come on. I get it's a feud, but for fuck's sakes. So yeah, again, we got Dominik with Rey Mysterio ringside versus Chad Gable with Otis at ringside. The match gets underway, and they lock up. Chad Gable quickly takes Dominik's back and slams him. He slams him down, then lifts him, and slams him again. Dominik runs into the ropes to send Chad Gable flying off his back. Gable isn't happy and he rushes back in, but Mysterio grabs his waist. Gable uses impressive wrestling to get out of the hold and take Dominik down. Gable hits a dragon whip, then drops a few knees on Dominik's leg before applying a submission. Dominik breaks free and hits Gable with flying knees. Then hits a wheelbarrow roll into the turnbuckles. Gable counters Dominik and hits a tiger suplex for a near fall. Gable goes up top and jumps for a moonsault, but Dominik rolls out of the way and Gable lands on his feet. They exchange a series of roll-ups until Dominik scores the win. And that was it. So as soon as the bell rings, Ray runs into the ring and hits Otis with a baseball slide on the opposite side. Ray then jumps off the apron onto Otis with a seated senton and knocks him over the announce table. Ray and Dominik hightails it as Gable and Otis watch on in fury. Alright, so my thoughts and comments on this match. This was quick. I will say this was quick, but it also ended up being one of the best technical performances we've seen from Dominik, specifically. Now, it's no surprise that it was against Gable. The Alpha Academy leader is among the best pure wrestlers in WWE today has to offer. Now, he can elevate just about anybody because he is that smooth in his delivery and execution. Pairing him with Dominik was a smart call, I guess you could say. Even though I was kind of bored watching the match, I will say it was the right call to book him in his match against Dominik by WWE. So I'm not going to shit on it. This is another example of basically 50-50 booking. But this feud is just getting going. So they can afford to trade wins until WWE decides which team is going to come out on top. Now, we got Belair versus Shayna Baszler. But before that, we see a replay of last week's promo between Seth Rollins and Cesaro, which resulted in Cesaro hitting Seth with the swing for a solid minute. Seth is interviewed backstage wearing a pink suit, and he says Cesaro's swing. So that's when we got Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE, the quickest, the fastest, the strongest, most certainly the powerfulest, and the best, the realest too. And she's the illest as well. So, Shayna Baszler with Nia Jax ringside versus Bianca Belair with Sasha Banks and Reginald? Really? Bruce? Reginald? I still don't understand why this guy's still involved in this feud. It just doesn't make sense to me still. It just doesn't. But with Sasha Banks and Reginald at ringside, this was a great match. We got the match beginning and Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair locking up and struggle for control. Now, Bianca lifts Baszler, but the Queen slides down the back and takes a headlock. Baszler shoots her to the corner, but Baszler jumps over her and hits a dropkick. Baszler looks for another dropkick, but Shayna grabs the foot and tries to twist it, but Bianca quickly rolls away and tries to pin Shayna to no avail. Now, once she pinned her to no avail, when she did that, Baszler gets a hold of the wrist, and Bianca breaks away and runs to the corner and tries to jump over her again. But Baszler kicks her in the air. You know, sort of like hands in the air. Wave them like you just don't fucking care. I'm just joking. Baszler follows up with a knee to the face in the corner and scores a 2 count. Shayna takes the wrist and bends it in unnatural positions. Whoa. Sounded kind of negative for a minute. Then falls backwards to snap the arm. Banks looks concerned on the outside, but Belair dodges a second running knee from Baszler and hits a one-arm scoop slam. Belair backs her into the corner, and this repeated shoulder tackles. Then lands a suplex. Belair keeps up and hits a back body drop, no selling the arm at all, and looks for the glam slam, but Baszler rolls forward, sending her out of the ring. Reggie tries to help Bianca up, but she shoves him into Nia Jax. Then Bianca rolls inside, but gets hit with a knee by Shayna Baszler. Reggie, known as Reginald, apologizes to Nia, but she runs at him and he moves. So she hits Banks. Shayna grabs Bianca from behind with the careful to clutch, but she quickly lifts her onto her shoulders and hits the KOD for the win. That was a good KOD on Shayna Baszler. That looked like the move Shayna Baszler would have kicked out. That's the type of move that Shayna Baszler would have kicked out of. But she didn't. Must have got Shayna Baszler real hard. At that. So after the match, Belair berates Banks and Reggie and walks off. Banks then slaps Reginald and tells him to stop butting into her business. Now, I will say this. The match itself wasn't too bad. But Baszler has done so many little things to make her offense look painful. Whether she is manipulating joints or laying in her strikes, she is always convincing. Now, the shenanigans at ringside were unnecessary, but didn't take away from the action in the ring. But hopefully this was the end of Reginald's involvement, because he has added nothing to this feud. Absolutely nothing. Zero at all. None. Banks and Belair get along, but they aren't acting like best friends. So there is a good chance they lose at Fastlane and one turns on the other. Which I'm thinking Sasha Banks is going to turn heel on Bianca Belair. And we could get another heel in the SmackDown Women's Division. Aren't there too many heels on the women's SmackDown Women's roster, though? Sonya Deville's technically a babyface, though, right? Just saying. But that would be good for Sasha Banks to turn on Bianca Belair. And that gives us heel Sasha Banks versus babyface Bianca Belair for WrestleMania 37. That is going to be one of the best women's matches on that card. No shit. No doubt about that, man. I don't see Asuka versus Charlotte Flair stealing the show at WrestleMania 37. I just don't see it happening. We've already seen it twice. Why would anybody want to watch that match again? Just saying. Jey Uso's warming up in Roman's dressing room. Roman Reigns tells him it's his job tonight to make sure the Universal title is safe until WrestleMania. If he loses, he'll have to defend the belt at Fastlane, and that's fine. But if he loses, he'll disgrace himself and the family. Jey says he's got it. Commercial break. We got Murphy versus Cesaro. So we got Murphy versus Cesaro. Seth Rollins comes out and just before the match begins and watches this one from the announce desk, which is surprising because I thought he was going to go in there and jump Murphy from behind, but he didn't. Anyhow, Cesaro rushes Murphy and lifts him up for a slam. Then hits a deadlift gut-wrench suplex for a 1 count. Murphy hits the ropes and jumps, but Cesaro catches him with a scoop slam. Murphy sockers Cesaro out of the ring and drop kicks him through the ropes. Then hits a tope. Murphy gets Cesaro back in the ring and hits a top rope crossbody for 2. Cesaro shoves Murphy backwards into the buckles. Then catches him with a European uppercut. Cesaro whips Murphy to the corners and hits uppercuts over and over. Then a running kick to the face. Cesaro hits the swing for a long time before transitioning to the sharp shooter for the submission win. And Rollins gives Cesaro a fake applause from the audience, from the announce desk. And Cesaro smiles at him. Giving Cesaro a fake applause from the announce desk. Really, Rollins? You are really trying to play mind games with Cesaro. He's acting like he's trying to toy with Cesaro. I believe that's what he's doing. He's trying to get in the mind of Cesaro, but Cesaro's not letting Seth Rollins get in his mind. That's what I'm thinking here. I think he's really trying to a superstar. Get in the superstar's mind, you get what I'm saying? But anyways, Cesaro versus Murphy, and didn't have Rollins distracting us on commentary. This could have been the match of the week, honestly. Cesaro and Murphy showed great chemistry. They used their skills to make each other look good. That's why I say this match was okay. It was great. The only thing that could have made this better would have been getting more time with them. Obviously, Rollins didn't seem impressed with Murphy's efforts and made no effort to help him. So this might have been a one-time interaction for the former allies. Reginald is walking with his suitcase backstage, passes Sasha Banks' locker room. He knocks and asks her for another chance, but she says no and slams the door in his face. Reggie then walks on down the hallway, and Shayna and Nia are standing, and Baszler says he reeks of failure. Baszler wants to fight him, but Jax stops her and says he's kinda cute. So weird, that's a weird, odd couple there. Apollo Crews comes to the ring, and now he has a spear and two guys dressed in army gear flanking him. Crews speaks in Nigerian accent and says everyone is telling him they don't like the new him. Well, the news is this is the real him. He is a descendant of Nigerian royalty and a true African American. He says he has brought two real Nigerian elite guards with him. His father used to tell him about guards like them, but he was ashamed of that heritage. So his so-called friends would ask him if he lived in a jungle or rode a lion to school. He was ashamed. Guards like them would leave people in a bloody mess and hunt them for generations. And the older he gets, the more he realizes history repeats itself. Big E disrespected him, and he heard the voice is his ancestors telling him to stand up and take his heritage. So he knows Big E is at home and he'll be back next week. Well, he is not the same man Big E pushed aside. He doesn't ask for opportunities, he demands them. He will stand before Big E and dominate him and leave him broken and humbled and take the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I love this heel Apollo Crews. I think he's doing a really good job. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with this feud next Friday. I think this feud is looking to get incredibly physical and incredibly real. This feud has gone personal real quick. I think this has been one of the best things going on television in recent memory. And it continues to be a great feud. Hopefully WWE books Apollo Crews versus Big E for the Intercontinental Championship for WrestleMania 37 and not for Fastlane. Or maybe book it for Fastlane and WrestleMania 37. Maybe we can get two Apollo Crews versus Big E matches. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville are arguing with Natalya and Tamina backstage. They want to know why they aren't getting a tag team shot at Fastlane. And Pearce says, it's obvious because they fucking suck. Nobody cares about them. Tamina and Natalya are two of the three worst examples of the SmackDown Women's Division. Billie Kay is the third one. My God, those three ruts, those three female talents, they fucking suck. They are so terrible at what they do in the ring. Their wrestling skills are terrible. Oh my goodness. I mean, who would want to watch Tamina, Natalya, and Billie Kay in the ring? If you're supporting Billie Kay and Tamina and Natalya, then you have got to be a complete fucking idiot. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville arguing with Natalya and Tamina backstage. They want to know why they aren't getting a title shot at Fastlane. Pearce says that's just the choice that was made. Deville says she would have went with them instead. Jey Uso is interviewed backstage and starts ranting about the Uso Penitentiary. I love when he says that. But then Bryan attacks him from behind and leaves him lying. That was kind of funny though, gotta admit. So we got a commercial break. We got this commercial break and we get a backstage segment after that of Ding Dong Hello with Bayley. Former SmackDown Women's Champion, former Raw Women's Champion as well. She says she's got a segment in mind like mean tweets, but seeing as everyone loves her, it's called sweet. It's called sweet tweets. Bayley reads tweets from people saying her talk show should main event WrestleMania and that Sasha Banks would never get a talk show. The final card was not complimentary, so she got up and slammed the door behind her. That's when we got Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Boy, I definitely need y'all's comments on this match, man. What are your thoughts? I want to see your thoughts. Comment your thoughts below on Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Man, that was the only best match on this card. So far, it was. That was the only best match you could ever watch. This is the type of match you can watch and say, man, this match is better than Chad Gable versus Dominik Mysterio. That's how good this steel cage match was between Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan. All that Jey Uso did in the ring is one of the reasons why he's a main eventer. So, the match gets underway. Bryan runs at Jey and hits him with a forearm. Jey throws Bryan into the steel cage wall, then traps him between the ropes and cage and shoves his face into the mesh. Now, Jey shouts at Bryan to acknowledge Roman. And let me remind you all, this is the main event of SmackDown. He acknowledges Roman, who gets off his seat and sets on Bryan's face. Roman tells Jey more, and Uso lifts Bryan up to run him head first into the cage. Jey asks for the door to be open, and he makes to leave, but Bryan grabs his leg. Now, Jey pummels Bryan with right hands, then starts climbing the cage, but Bryan chases after and drags him down to the top rope. They slam each other's heads into the cage, then jumps off and shakes the ropes to drop Bryan onto it. Jey then uppercuts Bryan off the ropes before running him into the turnbuckle. Bryan gives Jey a taste of his own medicine and slams him into the steel steps. Then goes up top for a missile drop kick. Both men are down. Bryan hits Jey. Bryan hits a running kick to the arm of Jey and wraps the arm over his shoulder and snaps it over his own. Bryan then runs Jay into the steel steps, shoulder first, a few times. Jay whips Bryan to the ropes, but he jumps on to the top rope and starts climbing, but Jay drops him into the tree of woe. Bryan stomps the It goes to commercial break. We're back live. Jay and Bryan are sitting on top of the cage and trading shots. Jay drags Bryan over the wall, down to the top rope, and Bryan brings Uso with him. Bryan hits the yes kicks while they're both standing on the top rope. Then Jay fires back with a super kick that knocks Bryan off. Jay follows up with an Uso splash for a near fall. Jay crawls towards the open door, but Bryan grabs his ankle again. Jay climbs to his feet and hits an enziguri. Then Bryan fires back with a kick of his own, but Jay hits a super kick for another fall. Bryan pins Jay with a crucifix for a near fall, then holds onto the crucifix position and elbows Jay's head over and over. Bryan tries to transition to the label lock, but Uso wiggles away and clubbers Bryan with big right hands over and over. Jay looks at Roman sitting on the stage, fingers out his next move. Uso starts scaling the cage wall, but again Bryan climbs up behind and grabs his ankles. Bryan drags Jay down and climbs up and over himself, but Jay drags him back inside. Bryan slams Jay into the cage a few times, then hits a butterfly suplex and rolls into the yes lock. Jay crawls to the ropes and gets it, but there is no rope break. Bryan pulls back harder on the hold, and Jay taps. Daniel Bryan has secured a shot against Roman Reigns Fastlane, so Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns was 100% confirmed for Fastlane. Roman Reigns was not happy, and Paul Heyman holds his head in his hands. Bryan climbs to the top of the cage and leads a yes chant to end the show. Now, my thoughts on this, folks. My honest thoughts on this and my honest thoughts, opinions, and comments. This was a really, really good match. Bryan and Uso beat each other senseless and put on a fun cage match to end what was an uneven episode of SmackDown. Both men looked great and used the cage in smart ways. They weren't consistently throwing each other into it, so it had more impact when they did use it to their advantage. Bryan versus Reigns at Fastlane will be great, but the outcome is predictable. This week's show had some fun wrestling, but didn't do a lot to further the ongoing storylines. And that's all I got to say about that. So, I have a few SmackDown news here. I got a little bit of SmackDown news. before we get on out of here. I have some news on. I got some news on WrestleMania. I got some news on that. I have some news on Vince McMahon calling to blow up original WrestleMania plans. So, we all know that Vince McMahon is a dickhead. And Bruce is too. We all know that Vince and Bruce can't write or produce. We know that. And we know they are known for giving us complete garbage every week on SmackDown and Raw. Because Bruce and Vince are running both Raw and SmackDown. So, it says here that WWE is on their way to April the 10th and 11th WrestleMania event. Vince McMahon seems to have changed things around to turn it up a few notches. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Vince McMahon has decided that WrestleMania needs to be blown up. This decision came down in the last week, so we'll have to see what that means. Now, this is what the Wrestling Observer newsletter said. They said, and I quote, Vince McMahon decided this week that the show needs to be bigger and to blow up the original ideas, and how else can we use everyone? So their people are expecting changes this coming week from the original lineup and direction. So that's what the Wrestling Observer newsletter said. WWE is bringing back live fans to Raymond James Stadium. That will be a banner event for WWE after so long without fans during the pandemic. Now, there are many changes expected very soon. My sources, Ringside News, will continue to monitor this ongoing story here on their website. Also, IWN, England Wrestling News, will also continue to monitor this ongoing story for me, my subscribers, and most importantly for my viewers and England Wrestling News fans. So that is all the news I have, folks. And that's going to do it for your March the 5th, March the 5th, 2021 Friday Night SmackDown review. If you enjoyed this review, man, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. And now it is time to review the chat. Let's see who's in the chat. Gamma Ray is in the chat. Was in the chat during my review. Hey, what's up, man? You're welcome, man. I followed you on Twitter. I gave you a follow back. I did. I'm not sure if you got it or not. Hopefully you did. Yeah, I hate it too, man. I hate that the talent hadn't been used. Vince and Bruce have really just screwed up everything. This product, it fucking sucks so bad, man. It really does. They went from wasting Keith Lee to burying Matt Riddle to burying all 5 members of Retribution. We saw and Aleister Black and everybody else. Even Humberto's not being used. Nobody. None of the young talents from NXT have been used at all. All they've been is wasted and buried. Bray Wyatt is not even, well, yes, he is from NXT, but from NXT from years ago, though. Even The Fiend was buried and wasted. Seeing how he lost his Universal title to Goldberg at Super Showdown, that was an embarrassment itself. That was one of the worst creative decisions I've ever seen. My goodness. Bray Wyatt losing to Goldberg for the Universal Championship at Super Showdown, that's definitely got to be telling everybody in the IWC something. That's got to be telling everybody that Bruce definitely needs to get fired and Vince definitely needs to get removed from WWE. Because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They really don't. They don't know how to produce or write. They need new writers. They need a new lead writer for both Raw and SmackDown. They need a new executive director for both Raw and SmackDown, and they need a new chairman. Triple H needs to be the next chairman because I feel like, without a doubt, I think Triple H has this. I think Triple H would be perfect as chairman. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to produce. He knows how to run WWE. He knows what Raw and SmackDown needs. He knows what we want. He gives us what we want. He's producing NXT, right? He gives us what we want out of NXT. That's why NXT's been the best shows every week. We saw that big match out of NXT UK with the Women's Championship. Kaylee Ray defending her NXT UK Women's Championship against Miku Satomura. You saw how good that was. That was one of the greatest matches of all time. And it's definitely going to go down as one of the greatest women's matches ever. One of the greatest matches in WWE history. In all of WWE. Why can't Vince and Bruce do like Triple H, man? Why? Why can't they do like Triple H? I don't understand it. I don't get it. But anyways, folks, I'm going to get on out of here. If you want to join me for my stream on Call of Duty, you can. Coming up next, I'm going to be streaming Call of Duty. One person on my WWE Smackdown live stream watch-along commented Call of Duty, so I'm going to stream that. So I'm going to push my Dragon Ball Fighter Z live stream, full story mode live stream I'm going to push that to tomorrow afternoon. So, I hope you all enjoyed the review. Please invite your friends to have a listen to my review, man. Encourage them to hit the like on the stream and comment their thoughts on it and everything else. I'm getting out of here. Now, tomorrow afternoon, not only am I going to be streaming on Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but also tomorrow night, or tonight, should I say tonight, because today is actually Saturday, so might as well say this afternoon I'm going to be streaming Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and then tonight, my AEW Dark live stream watch-along will be live. Yes, I am officially going to be watching AEW Dark for the very first time ever. Not the first time I watched AEW Dynamite, though, but first time I watched AEW Dark. Yes, get prepared, folks, because you might want to grab you something to eat, because this is going to be a long live stream watch-along. This is going to be long. They got 12 matches booked for this Saturday's for this Saturday's AEW Dark Special. 12 matches, man? Damn! That joke stacked. For real. But anyways, again, if you enjoyed this review, hit the thumbs up, man. It really helps the channel, it helps the live stream, the videos, and it helps me. Keep on supporting me and my YouTube channel, man. Keep on continuing to encourage everybody in IWC to subscribe to my channel, especially if you want me to get up to 1,000 subscribers. Because, trust me, I want to get up to 1,000 subscribers myself, and I'm trying the best I can to give everybody the content that they want to see, the content that they need to see. The content that everybody will love. The gaming content that everybody would enjoy watching. So, guys, see you on the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War stream. Peace. I'm out of here.